Hey guys, I hope you're well. It's Alex here. So I'm making this video because I got a lot of questions on Facebook and Instagram after I put a post up where I used my guitar to trigger a piano VST on Pro Tools. I've got no MIDI pickup in the guitar or any external piece of hardware. It's just using a piece of software that converts the audio to MIDI. This does work with any DAW, not just Pro Tools. So by making this video, I'm hoping it's going to answer a lot of questions people had, as well as going over some of the features of this really cool piece of software. So the piece of software is MIDI Guitar 2. That's what it's called, just MIDI Guitar 2, and it's by a company called JamOrigin. Basically, it's a piece of software that runs outside of your DAW that converts your audio input into MIDI in real time. This software then acts as a MIDI input within your DAW. So when you set it up on Pro Tools, you have to sort of assign this as being a MIDI input, this program. All the setup and install instructions on their websites are really clear, and it's really easy to set up. It's not a ball ache. It was pretty straightforward. So before we kind of dive in, look at some features, and then kind of listen to how I'm using it, let's just quickly look at the post that I put up yesterday that sort of got the attention. So if we come in Pro Tools, okay, so that's pretty cool, right? That's just using exactly what it looks like. I'm playing the chords on my guitar, and instead of it coming out as a guitar, it's coming out as a piano. There's no programming or anything like that, no programming MIDI. It is just, I play the chords on the guitar and it comes out as a piano. So let's quickly take a look at the features of the program. So let's start here. We're only really concerned with like this half of the screen here. We're not really worried about this. You can use the program standalone by itself, and it's got built-in sounds and stuff like that. But with looking at it of how you use it as a MIDI controller to make your guitar a MIDI controller. So starting over here, we can change the mode to monophonic or polyphonic. Yeah, mono or polyphonic. I don't really know why you'd have it on monophonic unless you were triggering monophonic synths just to really, stop any confusion. That's exactly why you'd use that. I always use it in polyphonic because I'm normally using it to lay down chords using a piano or a pad or something like that. The tuning here, so this is quite cool. So you can configure it to pick up the tuning of your guitar. So if you're not using standard tuning, this is kind of essential. So if your guitar's in drop D, you have to match this to your guitar tuning. Otherwise, it's not going to pick up stuff very well. So it goes like standard, drop D, and down, and down, and down, and down. Oh, well, up. Those last two are up. And there's loads of open tuning, stuff like that. It works with acoustic and electric as long as you can plug something into it, which you have to have electroacoustic. But yeah. So that has to match the tuning of your guitar. You can do custom tunings. Just put it in anything random. Yeah, but it's very important that you get like string 1 being E4, that's not E3, because that'd be an E that's lower than a standard high E on a guitar. So let's put that back to standard tuning, otherwise it'll never work again. So this noise gate here, this is probably the most important control. I don't really think of it like a noise gate as such. It's more like a sensitivity control. So the lower you have it, the more sensitive the program is, the more it picks up. And then the higher you have it, the less it picks up. So you want to set this differently depending on what plugin you're using to get the best results. So if I have it really low on a piano plugin, sometimes if I just even touch the strings without playing anything, the notes are all pinging off and everything like that. So I want to bring it up a little bit to make it less sensitive. So just by moving my hands on the strings of the guitar, it doesn't trigger the piano. So if I'm doing something single note, I might bring it down to make sure that it doesn't lose any of the notes when it's tracking. So this articulation section, this is where you can like say, to pick up when you bend a note on the guitar, or how playing legato affects how it tracks and stuff like that. I don't really touch any of this. I sometimes put bends on if I'm doing single notes, but a lot of the time, because you're triggering synths or other instruments where you can't bend notes, so if you'd like, as an example, a piano, you can't bend a note on a piano, I just leave it disabled. It does mean sometimes you have to kind of play your guitar in kind of an un-guitar-y way without any vibrato or bends and stuff like that. But if you're triggering like some other kind of lead synth and it's got a pitch bend wheel or something like that, then it can be useful to kick it on for doing stuff like that. The MIDI velocity here, this is basically the velocity, your MIDI velocity in your DAW. These all affect that. I tend to kind of just leave everything as my default. I'll show you why I leave it like that when we look at some sounds. But it's basically because I track with it quickly to get the information into Pro Tools, like all the chords into Pro Tools, and then I'll edit it like in the MIDI editor. So this section here, the MIDI effects, this is really, really, really useful. So this, as you can see, is a big old menu of stuff. The thing I find most useful in this section is a transposer. If I want to play something really high up, I can play, in the normal area of a guitar, and then set this to transpose up or down. It's useful because, sometimes, especially if you're going low, sometimes if you want some really like low synth bass, you can just play normally on your guitar and then tell this to put it down an octave or 2 octaves, rather than playing something in and then transposing the MIDI down within your DAW. It's just a quicker way of working. Yeah, it's got some other stuff in here as well, like harmonizer. It's all good and useful, and kind of lets you shortcut some of the stuff you do like later on. It's like if you wanted to harmonize a line you can do it on the way in using the harmonizer, rather than playing it and then playing it again, or copying it and transposing it up however you would do it. You can just do it on the way in with the harmonizer. So yeah, that's pretty much like a quick overview of the features. How I have it set now on the screen is how I have it set kind of as default. I just open that up, go into Pro Tools, and then I literally, because I've got it set up as a MIDI input device, I just record arm the track I want, and then I'm going to play my guitar and get some sound. So I'll just quickly grab my guitar. Right, okay, so I've got my guitar. I open this, it opens outside of the DAW, and then come in here, and I just click, say, on this Prophet sound. Prophet. So with that, do you hear that there? Just by moving my hands, that's what this noise gate, or what I said, like the sensitivity knob is. That's what that adjusts. So if I crank this right up, so like moving my hand on the strings is doing nothing at the moment, but then if I turn it all the way down, it just triggers stuff at random. So I'd find like a balance. So I'd probably start high. I'd probably start high and then wind it back. So it choked one of the notes there, so I drop it a little bit. And that's what I mean about kind of un-guitar-y. If we're playing like a lead line, it's really common to bend and use vibrato. So bend range 2. That basically lets the program trigger I pull up the program. lets it trigger this pitch wheel with the bend on my guitar, which is really clever if you think about it. So I'm kind of getting somewhere close where it's not choking too many notes. I'll probably back off to about here. So I pull up the volume knob on my guitar again. Let's turn that back off because just picking hard can trigger it as well. That's kind of why I leave it off. So yes, I changed it to monophonic because this is actually a monophonic synth. So if I pull this down even more, this is also another reason why it's good. Is why it does trigger when I'm doing this, but by putting it on monophonic when I'm playing, it should again like minimize that. So it's about finding the balance you need for the plugin you're using. This should hopefully make the tracking speed a little bit clearer. Is if I bring in my guitar, so I've got a guitar track as well. So I just unmute my synth track. So these are both coming in at the same time. So that's kind of, I'd say, is the consistent tracking limit. You can hear there it's kind of dropping something. So you're doing the fast picking, drop some of the notes. So as you can hear there, is dropping some of the notes. But what I mainly use it for is putting chords and stuff and other ideas rather than trying to do a synth solo on my guitar. Yeah, because I'm not a synth player. So if I wanted a synth solo, I'd probably get someone to play synth to solo as such. So let's check out like this. So this is kind of what I would use it for. Keyscape, lovely piano sound. So I've got to go back and change that. It's funnily enough, the piano is polyphonic. And again, I'd want to tweak this, so maybe I'd push that up. So when I have to pick quite hard. Again, if I pull this right down. Okay, so again, it's about finding the balance that you need and not having it just trigger whenever you move your hand. You'll find that some plugins respond much better than others. So on this, you can have it quite low and it not be too bad, which is quite helpful because you don't have to hammer away with your pick whenever you want to play a chord. So yeah, this is kind of exactly what I'd use it for. I just pick some chords. Let's say we're working with those three chords. I just come into Pro Tools. And then I'd bring up my MIDI editor and I'd edit them. So I'd make sure, I'd do it in time. Obviously, I've not done it in time to whatever the session is. That's why none of them are on like bar lines. I probably wouldn't mess around with the timing too much unless I play horrendously out of time because I want to preserve the performance. Otherwise, I might as well just click notes in and have it be really robotic. But I would then remove like all these notes that just get picked up from your hands moving around the guitar and just tidy it up like that. So that's how I predominantly use it. So I do like it also for kind of doubling melody lines, not ones that are too crazy because of the tracking, but for something like just for random kind of, nice kind of smooth melody lines like that. Yeah, so the last thing to kind of go through is like, again, it's just another example of how I use it. Get rid of the guitar, unmute that. So we've got like a pad sound in Omnisphere. So again, it's just really useful to be able to put ideas like that down rather than kind of, you know, writing something and then having to sit there using your little pencil to kind of put in all your MIDI notes and stuff like that. It's really helpful for writing, obviously. Yeah, and if you're kind of quite delicate with your play and you get these settings right, you know, you can kind of use it to like perform with almost. Like just then there wasn't really any stray notes that shouldn't be in there, and in the clip that I originally posted, that we looked at the start of the video, again, that's not edited or anything, that's just the sound, that's just me playing it. And it really is that simple. Once you've got it set up, you just pull up an instrument track in your DAW and then you just press record arm and you're good to go. So just quickly look at the transpose, the things I like to use in the MIDI effects, like the transpose. We just take this pad sound. If I wanted it really low, we just put it down to 2 octaves. Oh, helps if I actually arm the track. So then down an octave. Same as the guitar. Up 2 octaves. Okay, so it's really useful for getting to areas where the guitar can't actually play. Like this down an octave, I can't play this chord any lower. In terms, like I can't play it an octave down on the guitar, but maybe I want that pad to be an octave down. So I kind of like that because, you know, if I'm playing the pad along with other elements I've got in the song to you know, to see what it sounds like an octave down, I don't have to record it in, transpose my MIDI down an octave. I can just hear it in real time. I can just play it in like that, and I kind of like that more than, you know, having to record it and then transpose it. And yeah, that's probably the thing I find the most useful. Again, harmonizer. You just pick your key. That's with the harmonizer on. So you can hear it most in the top end there. So if I quickly whack the harmonizer back, E. Okay, so basically what that's doing is I'm playing an A major chord on my guitar and it's harmonizing it in E major. Okay, yeah, they're the two I use the most. The arpeggiator is very dependent on what you play, but it does work. It arpeggiates. It lets you arpeggiate things that don't have arpeggiators. But you know, most synths, if you want to arpeggiate the synth part, the synth you want to be triggering probably has an arpeggiator in it anyway. Okay, so hopefully that's been useful, and for the people that saw the post and asked questions, it clears something up for you. If you've got any more questions, obviously don't hesitate to get in contact and ask. Leave a comment on this video, or you can go in the description, go over to Instagram or Facebook, and, you know, DM me there, or, you know, put a comment on a post there or something like that, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So it's MIDI Guitar 2 by JamOrigin. It's just a really cool plugin. It's, you know, if you like composing and you're a guitar player and, you know, you want to be experimenting with stuff that's not just guitar all the time, it's invaluable. I think it's like $100, which is about 90 quid, which is cheaper than any MIDI pickup you can buy, and you don't have to screw it into your guitar. You just have to plug your guitar into your interface. Great, so I hope you found this video useful. As always, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, and I'll see you next time.